already. So obviously, John and Janae, sponsored by Elaine Shekanino, Upline Emeralds, Devang and Arti, and Upline Diamonds, Vishal and Sonika Jane. So super excited to be sharing with you guys. We have a power pack training here, going to be very interactive, have a few people come up. We're going to keep it relatively short, but who knows, we might run a little bit over. So, you guys can pay a little bit of the price that we paid before the pandemic when we had night owls and stuff like that. But definitely going to get to the point. I know we have a lot of new pins, a lot of new people on the call here tonight. So you're definitely going to get a lot out of tonight's training. So super excited to be sharing. I don't know if you have anything before we go into the 9 core steps. Or...
No, I mean, we are really excited and really blessed to have the opportunity to speak to you guys today together. But yeah, we have a lot to go through, so I don't want to take up too much time so we can get this going.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we'll do is, so kind of how we're going to structure this training is kind of like we said, we're going to keep it a little bit interactive. The first thing that we definitely want to go through is the 9 core steps and kind of walk you through. I know some of the new people on the call here tonight, there's a lot of not only new people, but newer IBOs who are less than 3 to 6 months in business. So what we want to do is we want to give you guys the framework. Again, the one thing that Janae and I realized in business is that the business is very simple, but it's not easy. There's certain things that you have to be willing to consistently do over a period of time to become successful. And one of the best things that I loved about this business is that the BWW team literally laid out everything that you need to do to become successful in this business. So all it is a matter of doing what is taught. And if you do that, you'll become very, very successful. So let me do this. Let me share my screen. Janae and I can kind of go through a little bit. We're going to invite a few of our partners to come up and talk, as we kind of go through these 9 core steps on some of the things that they're doing very well that we feel that might be able to benefit some of you guys who are up and coming in business and even want to kind of take it to the next level. So why don't we do this? Let me share my screen with you guys real quick, and then Janae can kick it off going through some of the 9 core steps right here. Let me add the sound. So let me know, are you guys able to see this? Thumbs up. Okay, perfect. So why don't you can kick it off.
Yeah, so basically, I know a lot of us here, or if you're new, you will hear a lot maybe in the audios or with your upline or people in the team talk about being a core IBO. And so what John is talking about with the 9 core steps and with BWW, breaking it down, this is how you become a core IBO. So first you would want to start with your volume, of course. Volume is really important. That's how you make your money in the business. So like my mindset as a new IBO when I first launched my business was, okay, like they tell you when you're going through the launch protocols, look through your household and figure out what it is that you can switch over from, different stores and using your products from your business. So that was my thing, trying to switch my mindset. Like, okay, I'm an employee, but I want to become a business owner. So let me have that business mindset, or at least listen to my upline and what they're telling me. So of course, personal product use. So that was the detergent, of course, the soaps, the lotions, things like that. And at the time I lived with my mom and my sister, so I would you don't have to do what I'm saying, but I would switch out their products as well. If you have that relationship with your parents, and if you're young, definitely, just introducing the products to your family is really good. Because then they'll love the products as well as you, and learn to love it. And that'll help you in the long run. And of course, customers. So when I first started my business, I believe I hit 150 PV in the first week. And that was because I was contacting all of my
That's why I proposed to her.
Sure. And so, I utilized my A list, my A and B list. So I was looking for older relatives and, people that I knew would use these products, even people who I knew may have known of these products before and maybe haven't used them in a while. So that was also the detergents, the snacks, and the bars and stuff like that. So that definitely helped me to, reach that level so quickly. And just, now what has helped me, currently, now that, we reached over 300 PV every month and things like that, is just following up with my customers. Some people, they'll order here and there, or some people that I know or some of my customers from the beginning are still ordering until this day. So people will figure out the things that they like the most. And, you know, they don't have to love every single product from your business, but if you put something in front of them, allow them to try it, sample. That's why we have samples and things like that. And Amway is amazing. They always bring new products to us every year, every couple of months. So, you know, just always being engaged with your customers and letting them know what's up, you know, utilizing social media, things like that will help you grow your customers and your VCS and things like that. So we can go into networking.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And kind of to touch on, like Janae said, I mean, that was one of the things I can definitely say from Janae, you know, first month in business, hitting 150 so quickly was, like she said, was because she utilized her A and B list for customers. And that's definitely stuff that you guys want to do. You want to, especially those of you that are new in business or even who are a little bit older in businesses, learn how to leverage the people around you. Like we talked about, the products are so universal that you can have pretty much anybody be a customer of yours. So kind of tap in. I know Vishal and Sanika are always posting in the Facebook group new products that are coming out, new things that are happening. So use that to your advantage. When you see new products, share them with some of your existing customers. You know, sometimes you can't hit them up every single week about, you know, order this, order that, but it's good to be able to share with them the new products that are coming out, because who knows, they might like it. So kind of like Janae said, you want to kind of be smart about that. And like she had mentioned, kind of with personal use, you know, I mean, that's the key to this business. If you don't, you know, use your own products, it's going to be very difficult, obviously, to build a large, successful business. But no, volume is very critical, just like Janae talked about. And kind of going into, you know, the networking aspect of this. Again, this is the cool part that I liked about this business, is that it was simple. You know, when it comes to networking, there's 4 basic steps that you do when it comes to networking. You build a list, you connect with people, and you drop the message. You start them through a process, and then you get them started right. So it's very simple. The key to this business is doing the things consistently over a period of time. If you get good at the simple things, you'll become very, very successful in this business, because the idea isn't to be very complex. The idea is to be very effective, you know, so that's one of the things. So what I want to do is I want to stop sharing real quick, and I want to bring up somebody in business who actually just hit Rising Star, Scott, to talk a little bit about building a list and DTMing. So I'm going to stop share, and I'm actually going to bring him up on the screen. So one thing I want to say before having Scott kind of go into a little bit of his talk about list building, DTM for a couple of minutes is just to tell you guys a little bit about him. I know Scott and I, we actually connected very recently on LinkedIn, and definitely want to say, I mean, I'm super proud of this guy. I mean, for those of you guys who don't know, Scott actually has a 2-year-old daughter, and we were actually talking today. He launched his first partner today, qualified as Rising Star in his second full month in business. And I remember we were talking after the launch. He was like, "Oh yeah, like his daughter was kind of going through, you know, a little bit of, you know, sicknesses and stuff." And I remember him telling me, he was like, "You know, I wanted to be on this call. You know, I wanted to make sure that I was there for tonight's meeting so that I could, you know, kind of earn my stripes." So I would definitely put in the chat, you know, guys, because I know Scott's definitely a rising star and, you know, a rising leader on the team. So what I want to ask Scott is, you know, again, your second full month in business. I know you've been hitting the ground hard. You had 12 MG1s. You know, what are some of the things, I guess, what are some tips that you could give people on, like, how you built your list, how you dropped the message? Because I know those were some of your skill sets that got you a lot of these, you know, MG1s and subsequent launches that are coming up this week and in coming weeks.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thank you for letting me speak. So basically, as far as like the list, I kind of look at it as there's like 2 different sides of it. So you have like all your potential partners, people, you know, that you think are younger, motivated, or people, you know, that you can kind of see that have done side hustles in the past, or, you know, it looks like maybe they have their own side gig, like people that just already seem motivated. And for me, like the easiest way to talk to them, honestly, like I've met a lot of people in my life throughout social media. I've had other businesses in the past. So I've met a bunch of people. I'm never really close with all of them, but I had them all on social media. I have their numbers. I have them on Snapchat, stuff like that. So honestly, the easiest way for me to reconnect with people, I'll just, you know, kind of scroll through social media a little. And when I see a story, something that looks cool, I literally just reply to it, swipe up, start a conversation with them that way, just by something that looks cool. We start talking, catch up a little bit, you know, fill each other in on lives. And then I kind of bring up business, you know, yeah, things have been going good. I've been working hard, you know, trying to support my family, looking at new opportunities. Recently started this new business. It's going well. I'm actually looking for more partners. You know, are you open-minded to, you know, new side hustles or new opportunities in your life outside of your work? And then what's good about it is, you know, they either are open, or if they're not, then as they know me, especially if they already personally know me, or depending on how close we are, it kind of depends how you want to speak to them. If it's someone you're really close with, it's a lot easier to talk with them, kind of go right into it. But if it's someone you haven't talked with in a while, you've just met a few times, you kind of have to like work your way into it. But what's nice about it is if they're not interested in the business side, a lot of them, I usually just ask them, I say, okay, no worries. I would really appreciate the support though. If you wanted to, look into some products, maybe try some. And then I explain to them what I personally use. I say, I really like the energy drinks, the vitamins, the CBD cream. I use the cleaning products. And I say, everything's really good. I mean, I'm sure there's something you'll be able to find. And then I tell them about, the 6-month money back guarantee. I really appreciate the support. If you try it out, say you hate it, you can always return it. But so far, every single time they've loved it, especially the ones that I personally use. So kind of sharing my experience with them. If they don't want to be a partner, then they're usually willing to support my business and at least try it out. So that's nice. And then as far as like older people or family members or people that I don't seem as more business minded, it's pretty easy to just start talking to them about products because I kind of go into it, what I've been using, started this. I tell them how everything's organic, it's all made in America. A lot of people really like that because everything's mostly international now. So I really emphasize on that, especially with the people that I know that live in the US because they really like that. So that helps a lot. Let me see here. And then, so yeah, it's kind of like just checking in with people, like, cause all these people in your past. I look at it as like the network. You have all these people in your network, everyone you've always met and that you may not be best friends with them, but they know you, they'll probably recognize you, if you bring up when you guys met, stuff like that. And then you never know who could be a potential partner or a customer. So you just got to be willing to check in with everyone. And the other thing that's good with me, at least, some people might be harder, but I'm just really good with talking to people. I'm very good at communicating and just starting conversations. So then if someone's not interested in either, being a partner or being a customer, it doesn't really affect me at all because I know so many people and I can always meet more people. So I just look at it as like, it was good practice. I engaged a conversation with them. I worked on a different pitch. It either worked well, it didn't. And then sometimes I've gotten feedback, like, oh, I didn't really like the way you pitched that. So then I've changed it up a little bit. And now I've kind of have it pretty mastered where, they're not really like, what is this? They kind of, instead of like trying to explain so much right in the beginning, I say, I can explain more on a call with you. You'd be interested, just learning about the opportunity because it's a lot to explain, over text. So then that's when I set up the MG1 and then just literally just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. So like, even though I have a busy life, I just try to look into when I can do it and just book them, back to back to back. So that I can get them in a row. And then I have people, some they don't even show up and I'm like, okay, no big deal, reschedule. And then I have some going through the process and then it's really hard because sometimes I'll have like 3-4 meetings with them and then they seem so excited. And then at the last minute, they drop out. And I'm like, oh, well, though, it's whatever because they've already learned so much about it. And if they know me personally, then they're willing to support my business. So I've had a couple people that, they were thinking about launching, but then they decide, I don't think it's for me, but I'll support your business. So then they try out some products, which has been awesome. So basically it's like, yeah, you can't be scared of people saying no. You just got to be able to move on to the next person and literally just keep doing it and keep doing it. And you just can't get in your head. Like I was getting mad that people weren't launching. I was like, well, if I just keep booking them, it'll be good practice for me. And then if I just do so many, someone's bound to launch. So now I was finally able to get someone to launch and I'm hoping to launch another couple partners this month and kind of just keep doing it, and it's also just really good practice in general, just talking about the business, talking about products and just everything like that. And then as far as customer wise, me personally, I work in retail. So I'll have the energy drinks and I'll be drinking them and they'll be like, well, what is that? That looks cool. I've never seen that before. And then that's when I've actually had some people, it hasn't worked yet, but it's still just been nice talking to them that are younger, that seem like motivated. I actually ask them, yeah, it's actually this business, and then I kind of talk about their job. And then I'll say, if you're ever looking for side work, I have this business, it's going well. I actually need more partners, and then I get their information, kind of follow up with them. And then if they're open for more opportunities, then try to get them as a partner. And if not, they saw me using the product and say, yeah, I really enjoyed this. I think you'll like it. And then they try it out. Pretty much that's what I would say.
Yeah, no, and that's the key. And I think that's one of the best parts, like you mentioned, Scott, is that there's so much flexibility to it. You don't have to, I think like you had mentioned, is that the best key is that, it's a numbers game. I remember Vishal always taught me, there's 4 aces in a deck, and you just got to go through the numbers to find them, and like you had mentioned, I mean, that's sometimes I know what new people think is they're like, oh, how many people do I got to talk to get one person to launch? And, it's like you said, it's just a matter of finding the right fit. It's like I was reading today in one of the books, is like, you can't make a duck an eagle. You got to find people that are eagles, find people that have those qualities. So kind of like Scott was saying is that, it's not a matter of, are they going to launch? How far in the process do they go? Like you said, however far they go, but you know, it's not your responsibility to make them interested. It's only your responsibility to find the people that are interested. And yeah, definitely. Thank you, Scott, so much for sharing. I know you added a lot of value with, like you said, how many people you're talking to, some different strategies. And like you said, guys, I know Scott was saying he talks to people at work, talks to people on social media. So there's no one way street. You know, you can find a lot of different avenues to be able to talk to people and help them out. So thank you so much, Scott, for sharing. You know, and definitely looking forward to obviously a lot of growth happening in your business, you know, over the next couple of months. So
Yeah, absolutely. One last thing, actually, I forgot. I just thought about it. Also, you should never like, I don't know, never judge someone like first, because John knows, like, we had this one call. I was like, you know, I haven't talked to this guy in a while. You know, I used to be friends with him. You know, he seems like motivated. And I talked to him. I was like, I have no idea how good of a fit he would be. I haven't checked in with him in a while. And then we got on the call. We're actually like, he was telling us all this different. It was like he was ahead of the game. You know, like he was already making business contacts. Like he was already working with people, and I had no idea. Like he's familiar with businesses. So it's like I had no idea about that. And then he kind of got held off. We'll have to come back to him because he had some family issues happen. But it was nice, like engaging. I going into it, I had no idea that like he actually would be so knowledgeable, kind of like similar to what we were already doing. And I had no idea. So you can never like think of someone like, oh, I don't think they'll be interested. You know, they don't seem like they're motivated, because it can really surprise you sometimes if you actually get on the MG1 with them and then start talking to them. You're like, oh, wow, you know, they really could be a good fit. I had no idea. So I just wanted to add that.
That's so important. I was just going to say that that's really important to keep in mind, because I know, like, even when I started, I mean, a lot of you, you know, start as a new entrepreneur. It's like, you know, these people that in your mind, like you maybe talked about business before. And then there's some people that, you know, maybe you don't think they would be interested, but, you know, you never know where someone is in life and what their dreams and their goals are. So you never want to, you know, keep the door halfway open for anyone. You want to open it for everyone and give everyone an opportunity.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's super key. That's super crucial. And like we said, I mean, Scott kind of covered it all in terms of the networking aspect. Is, you know, just go through the numbers. Your goal as an IBO is not to try to make people launch or get people engaged. Your goal is simply to just connect with the people and allow the right ones to filter through. You know, Vishal couldn't tell Nanda, you know, to go diamond. Nanda had to want to go diamond himself. Similarly to you guys, you know, your upline, you can't personally tell your friends to become successful. They have to want to be successful themselves. And if they do, then you can help them on that road to success. So that's the key, you know, and just like Scott said, it's just a matter of going through the 4 basics enough and you'll find the right people, you know. So kind of as we dive into personal development, I know, Janae, you can talk a little bit and then bring up our next guest to speak.
Yeah, so just as much as volume and networking is important, you know, to build your business, personal development, I would say, is your backbone. That's your mentorship. That's, you know, your BWW, of course. So reading books, like, you know, books to boost your confidence in yourself, you know, audios and videos, you know, listening to your audios at least once a day will boost your motivation and, you know, will get you, you know, ready to, you know, get going. Especially attending meetings and being around a team. I know we had our very first in-person conference in Baltimore a couple of weeks ago, and we brought a few partners with us. And I actually want to bring up one of those partners that we brought with us to Baltimore. She's been doing an amazing job. She's been in business for a few months now, and just has been showing so much grit, so much determination, ambition. I know a lot of that comes from, of course, her character, and as well as, you know, her background in basketball. I know John and her, they always talk about this. But yeah, we can bring up Maya. So I have a question for you, Maya. Okay. How did the conference increase your belief and your confidence in the business?
Okay, great question. And thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. So before the conference, I was consistently inconsistent. And that's not a bad thing to say. Starting out in the business, that happens. But I believed in the business, but I wasn't trusting myself enough to allow for the information I was receiving to work. You know what I mean? So before the conference, I had a mindset going into it that was okay, but I remember we sat down and we huddled and we talked about, you know, a 2-week stretch before the conference, like consistently DTMing people, having a higher number of DTMs I send out, reading books and audios every day, and seeing how that, you know, changes, and we can base it before conference and then after the conference, like my progress and everything. And going into the conference, you know, it was just a lot of momentum I had. A lot of conversations were happening, not so much MGs, but a lot of conversations were happening in person and via the internet. Also, like when I actually went through the conference and just going and being able to see everybody. I remember we talked and I asked you guys, like, if I was to see somebody like a diamond, like Nick or something, would they have a bodyguard around them, or could I approach them? And he was like, no, they're very approachable. So I was happy that when I did go to the conference and I seen that what you guys were saying was the truth, I was like, okay, bet, you know, these guys aren't closed off in the information that they gave to us, they were willing to give. You know, we didn't have to pay a price for it or anything like that. So yeah, Casey, I remember Alice Rodriguez. But just meeting all of the diamonds and the double eagles and the platinums and everybody, my own, the cross lines and Casey and Tony and Vishal and Sonica, and just meeting everybody and Conti and just being able to speak to them and getting knowledge from them, like that motivated me a lot to progress in the business and say, okay, Maya, it's time for you to, you know, hunker down and take the correct steps, listen to upline and coaches and go ahead. And if you want to go eagle or wherever your goal is, do it. So now after the conference, you know what I mean? I'm starting to really implement those goals. We sat down after the conference and I ran through my goals of what I want to do. And now I'm trying to hit them consistently, you know what I mean? So from the conference, like, just talking to everybody was a big experience for me. I remember Vishal on a Sunday was telling us about, you know, he's mentally always in the business, physically may not be there, but mentally he's always has to be in the business. And Wayne Callender was speaking to us as well. And he was saying how, you know, knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is power. And when you apply that knowledge and everything that you know, then you'll start to see the growth and how, like everything will start to change for you and move in the better. So after the conference, I mean, it was just I have a candidate here now that will be launching in a week or so. So that's great. And I hope to bring more with me and be eagle by the time the next conference comes, and just looking for continued progress within myself, within my business and with my upline and everything like that. So thank y'all for allowing me to speak.
Yeah, we're very proud of you, Maya. We can see like the mindset shift, and you know, we can tell that you're super determined to get your goals accomplished. You know, like you said, you have a new launch coming, and I know you're going to have many more to come after that. New 300 PV, and this is just the beginning. So we're super proud of you. Keep it up.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and definitely throw in the chat. I mean, Maya, you just killed it, and like you said, I think that's one of the biggest things. Like you said, I remember, like right when you started, you said, you know, consistently inconsistent, and I think that's something I'm going to touch on a little bit here today. But it's like you said, like you got real with yourself. I think that's one of the biggest things. I remember there was a turning point at one of my first conferences that I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. I had talked to people were getting in, some quit, some did it, some didn't. You know, and things like that. And there just came a point to when it was just like, all right, it's time to just do what I know I should be doing. And like you said, I mean, that's the key to the in-person meetings. That's the thing. Like, I know we have the in-person team meeting coming up in the next couple of days, Saturday evening. I would highly encourage everybody on this call, if you're within driving distance, to definitely, whatever you got to do is clear your calendar and get there. Because it's oftentimes, like I was saying to some of the candidates, it's not always what you hear from stage that's going to impact you. But like Maya said, it's those little moments off stage. It's meeting somebody, you know, cross line and getting a little bit of a tip. It's getting to see how real a lot of these people are. You know, while we love Zoom, you know, there's a difference between meeting somebody on Zoom and meeting them in person. And that's why I appreciate Vishal, Nanda, and all the leaders, Vishal and Sanika, Nanda and Sagita, for having this in-person team meeting, because it's not easy. You know, obviously they have to, you know, kind of set the stage, and then we have, you know, obviously we as business owners have to get there. And like Maya said, I think that's one of the biggest things, is that in-person meetings can really make an impact on you. So that's why for me, just like Maya said, I remember I made that decision after my first conference, that it was like any meeting that's being promoted, you know, whether it's virtual or in person now, you know, I got to be there, because you never know what can change your business. What if you missed the meeting and like that was the meeting that you were going to meet somebody that changed your whole business? You know, it's like I always got that in the back of my mind, that like if I miss, like what if not going sets me back 2 years, you know? unintentionally, maybe I had some challenge come up. I remember my first conference was a week after I launched, and I was actually supposed to be like helping somebody move, somewhere that weekend. And I remember telling Vishal, I was like, they can find somebody else to move. It's like, I got to make money. Like, I'm not in the business of just helping other people do what they need to do. So I started again, it's decision making. And again, that's something that we can't tell you to do. Again, if there's extenuating circumstances, you can't be there, you can't be there. Your upline's not going to beat you up. But again, if it's not a real excuse, again, we've heard it all. We've heard every excuse in the book. So we know if it's genuine or not, so I would just encourage you guys to just be at the team meeting, just like Maya said. And that's kind of the goal as we kind of wrap up the core steps. And I have a couple of more things I'm going to touch on before we wrap up the training, but that's the goal. Kind of like Janae was saying, I don't know if you have anything else about the personal development.
Yeah, and just make sure that if you're not already, subscribe to BSM, because, that's where you're going to get that everyday knowledge that you need to build your business. Just stay accountable. You do what you say you're going to do. Be close with your upline. Huddle, play, huddle. Do what you need to do so that you can reach your goals weekly, monthly, yearly, and things like that. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And like we said, I mean, this is, again, for the newer partners who maybe haven't seen this before, some of the more experienced partners, is that's what you got to do. The best part I loved about these 9 core steps is that it was a simple, duplicatable, application that you could do. And the best part about it is that everything on this page is a choice. You can choose to do it or you can choose not to do it. And that's the part I was reading in John Maxwell's book, that he talked about, like, he struggled so much in his early years of becoming a leader because he tried to get people to do things they didn't want to do. And I can definitely say Vishal Sanika and Devang and RT can definitely attest, like, that's definitely one of my bigger struggles is like, it's how can I, I was always like, how can I get somebody to do this or do that? And like, I remember there just came a point that they were just like, you just have to be willing to find the people that want to do it. No matter how much I talk to somebody, no matter how many, times you help somebody out, they're only going to do what they ultimately want to do. So you just have to find people like Maya, or find people like Scott, or like Doug, or, Carlos and Christy, Calvin, and, plenty of other people on the call here today. You just have to find people that want to do all these steps. And I remember hearing another thing also, is that it's like a recipe. It's not a menu. If you try to bake cookies without sugar, you have bad cookies. If you try to go eagle doing 8 of the 9 core steps, you're probably not going to be there for very long. So you want to figure out, I would encourage all of you guys, especially even if you've been in the business, look at all these 9 core steps, and rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 from every single one of them. How much do you use? Do you just do 150.01 PV, or do you use 100% of the products? Do you just develop a couple of customers, or do you try to connect with people every day? Are you again doing the 4 basics? Are you just on BWW, but you barely listen to it? Maybe you watch a couple of videos, read a book or two, or are you in BWW's apps every single day? Because again, there's people that are core, and then there's people that are core. And again, this is your future. If you see value in it, potentially being financially free, my mindset, kind of like Sean was saying, both of us being football players, being athletes, it's like, my mindset's the same as with football. Like, I wasn't playing football just for fun. I was playing football to go pro, and it's the same thing in this business. Once I decided to quit pro football and pursue this business because I saw more value in it, I realized that, if I'm going to give up a dream that I've had for my whole life, to pursue this business, I have to do it with a sense of urgency. And that's what I would encourage you guys to do. Again, I don't know where you're at in your stage of business or life, but it's simple. I mean, just make the decision, look at this. Obviously, you're good at some things. Maybe you're not good at others. Just choose to make a decision to turn it around. And if you get good at the things that you're good at, and then continue to improve at what you might not be the best at, you'll move on and launch people, be an eagle, platinum, in the next 1 to 2 years, and your life will totally transform. Ask some of the platinums and emeralds and diamonds, like, what was it that changed there? When you're at the team meeting, ask them the questions like, what was the moment that really changed your business? When you really made the decision to do all the 9 core steps, how did it work out for you? What were some of the challenges you went through? And who knows, you might get one of the answers that'll change your whole life in business. I know that happened for me and Janae, so hopefully it can happen for some of you guys, so hopefully that added some value to you guys. As we wrap up here, I have one last, a couple of slides I want to go through. I'm kind of talking a little bit about mindset that can maybe help a few of you guys right here. So I know it's 10:24, so I'll wrap this up in a couple of minutes, but So I want to wrap this up and then make this a little bit more engaging, because I know most of the training wasn't super engaging. So what I want to wrap up with is talking about a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. How to unstuck your business, for those of you guys who might be in a little bit of a patch, so what I want you guys to do is maybe you guys can start putting in the chat, put some things in the chat, like what are some things that you can do in this business that you can have like a growth mindset with when it comes to using 100% of your products, or networking, like Scott was saying, don't prejudge people. Put some things, especially for you more experienced IBOs, put some things in the chat where you can be more growth minded. So that way the new IBOs can kind of get some tips and tricks. Maybe I don't cover everything, but as they're going through the chat, they can kind of learn a little bit. So feel free to put some stuff in there. So one thing I wanted to start off with is, as I go through these last couple of slides, is a quote that I remember I was thinking about. This is a couple years back. I'm sure Calvin is probably laughing because we talked through this quote. I remember when he first launches, your mindset in the valley will determine the height of your peak. I know a lot of people that go through struggles, they go through challenges, and their mindset gets so low that they never end up coming out of those challenges. They never come out of the valley. And the goal to get through the struggles in your life is not to lower your mindset and lower, and kind of focus on other things. The goal is to double down and to grow yourself. Maybe you've talked to people and you haven't launched somebody in a couple of months. You don't want to pull away from BWW. You want to dive into it. I remember Kumar says, when your car runs out of gas, do you put gas in or take gas out? So where's your mindset at? Evaluate yourself. Like I said on the 9 core steps, evaluate yourself on your mindset. Is there certain things that you've been thinking about that are kind of limiting beliefs? Or are you thinking of things that are more growth minded? Like I can achieve, I can learn new things, I can come out of maybe this slump. Because I know there's been plenty of times that Janae and I have been in slumps in our business. And it wasn't until we changed our mindset that we found the answer to kind of get us going. So start to look for those answers and kind of always remember, don't like Steve Harvey would always say, when you're going through going through hell or going through a valley, why would you stop? Why would you stay there? Keep moving, keep going through, because eventually you'll find some greener grass on the other side of the mountain, basically. So I want to go through these 3 things: volume, networking, and personal development, and kind of tie it into what are some things that you might think of that are more fixed minded? What are some excuses that Janae and I have heard when it comes to volume, networking, and personal development? And then how can you change that mindset? Maybe it relates to some of you guys. So again, when it comes to volume, kind of like Janae was saying, some people have more of a consumer mindset. They're checking the price. Oh, this is a little bit expensive. I don't use these products. I remember hearing somebody like, my family doesn't buy any of this stuff. And I was like, your family doesn't buy toothpaste? Like, what are you talking about? Like, everyone buys this stuff, so, I'm not a salesperson. Why do I have to be on first day Ditto? Can I order my products the rest of the month? I don't have the money. That's the easiest one that everyone says. I don't have any money to buy products. I only make X amount of dollars, but you see them with the iPhone 13, you see them with new shoes. It's like, it's not that people don't have the money, it's that their priorities are a little bit off. So you want to change some of that. And again, feel free, guys, blow up the chat for the new partners so you guys can talk about it. But you want to develop more of a prosumer mindset. For those of you guys who don't know what I'm talking about, get the book Prosumer Power. You want to see the value. When you reach a certain level in this business, you're going to be making more money than you're spending, and you're earning a profit. So if you're looking at just the price, you don't really understand the business. Because if you build a large enough team, you're going to be making a lot of money. Try to learn new products. You want to, I want to make money from my products, instead of I don't have money. And then ditto, do it to teach others. You want to create a duplicatable model. Like Janae was saying, if you aren't using the products, imagine if you had 100 people on your team and they all ordered sporadically throughout the month. You never knew who was going to order or when were they going to order. How secure is that? Could Nanda and Vishal, could they have been financially free for the past multiple decades on that type of an income? No. They had to have a predictable, steady flow of income. So that's why Ditto is so important, and it's so simple, is create that predictability with your products. Talk to your upline about how you can get on Ditto, about how you can, use other people's money to buy your products. I remember Ratty said he didn't have money when he started in business. So he had his customers fund his 100 PV Ditto so that he could buy his BWW subscription, so that he could go to conferences and stuff like that. So think of creative ways. Again, don't be fixed minded, start to be growth minded when it comes to products and volume. Another aspect I want to dive into is, again, networking, kind of like Scott had alluded to. I don't have to go into too much detail, but again, a lot of people say, oh, I'm not good at talking to people. None of my friends and family are interested. I talk to all of them. Meanwhile, they only talk to 1 or 2 people. This person wouldn't be good at it. Literally, just like Scott was saying, everyone I know is so busy, things like that. These are things that you'll hear come out of potentially candidates' mouth, hopefully not your mouth, of excuses about, like they want to build a network, but it's too difficult. Like, I don't know people that are business minded, yada, yada, yada. So what is growth minded? It's I can learn to talk to people. There's all the, you saw 100, there's 94 people on right now. There was hundreds of people on, over 100 on the webinar. There's people out there looking for opportunities. It's just a matter of, it's not that they're not out there. It's that you might not be willing to go find them. So again, reframe. If you're not willing to, again, that's up to you. But, again, let me offer the opportunity and check interest. Like Scott was saying, it's like, reach out to people. Don't prejudge. It's not a matter of, trying to get somebody to be interested. It's a matter of finding somebody that is interested. And you're going to have to go through your numbers, but think about it. Think of all the people Vishal and Sonika had to go through to find Pramesh and Bharti, Nandan Sagita, Devang and RT, Rajiv Mini. It might have taken them a good bit to find those people, but now look at how long they've had that strong, successful business. It's worth it at the end of the day. So again, have that growth mindset when it comes to business. Not everyone's going to be interested, but when you find the right person, it'll be an instant match. And to kind of wrap up before I finish off with, this is the second to last slide. When it comes to personal development, what do some people say? Oh, I don't have money for BWW. Let me see, once I start to succeed a little bit, make a little bit of money, then I'll invest in my tools and my education. It's kind of like people saying, I'm going to tell my car, drive me to Philadelphia, and then I'll put gas in the car. It doesn't work that way. You have to put gas in before you can drive. You have to educate yourself before you can become successful. There's certain aspects that you can use your natural skills and ability on, but if you really expect to make significant income in this business, you're going to have that investment mentality. Let me learn first so that I can be successful in the long run. Again, the team meeting is too far. I have this thing coming up on Saturday. I can't make it. Again, if you can't make it, you can't make it. But again, in my mind, I started to make decisions based around my values. Was this going to get me closer or further away from my goals? For me, helping my friend move that weekend that there was a conference wasn't going to help me get closer to the goals that I had. Going to the conference was. So even though it was a little bit last minute, I had to make a little bit of changes. I was willing to make those changes because, again, I had the priorities right. So that's something, again, you have to evaluate for yourself. How important is learning about your financial fear? How important is it to get around Vishal and Sonika and Nandan Sangeeta on June 4th? For me, it's priceless. Because at the end of the day, why am I on this call here tonight this late if my goal isn't to become successful in this business? So I realized that, if that's the price that needs to be paid, let me just pay it, because then once I'm free, I'll have all the time in the world to do all the things that I want to do. But if I don't pay the price, I'll never be free. And I think that's kind of, again, some of the disconnect. Again, I don't like to read, I'm good at sales. Why do I need BWW? Again, just stuff that you hear from different people. So again, you want to develop that growth mindset. Again, keep putting stuff in the chat that maybe I'm not covering so other people can learn about it. But again, willing to invest in their education. You need to learn before you can earn. Again, put gas in your car before you expect it to take you somewhere. You might be able to get a little far. You might be able to drive 10, 15 miles on the current tank of gas, but you're not going to drive across the country with one tank of gas. You're going to have to constantly refill. That's what these conferences and team meetings are like. That's why Vishal and Sonika and Nandan Sangeeta are having these team meetings. This one coming up and then, more coming before the next conference is because, you realize that you need opportunities to refuel yourself. You go out there and talk to people. Again, not everyone's going to be interested. You go through some yeses, some nos, but you need to be refueled. That's why we come together on these Wednesday webinars, on these, team meetings, so that we can build ourselves back up and go out there and kind of build our future. Again, you can educate others. I need to keep improving, things like that, chasing education, and be there for the team. Again, that's one of the last things, kind of as I wrap up with this last slide, is to be others focused. And this is what I want to end on for you guys here tonight is, I think this is single-handedly, looking back at my business over the past couple of years, this is why I was either growing in business, not growing in business, worrying about things, wishing I was in different pin levels and things like that, is because every time I realized I was thinking negative or negative in my mind, it was always because I was focusing on myself. And I remember Janae and I, funny enough, we were actually at, like Vishal said, I wish I had time to show you guys what we saw at BWW's headquarters and stuff, but we don't have time. Maybe at the team meeting, I can share with you guys more. But one of the things that I was super grateful, and it's giving me chills right now talking about it, was that Vishal and Sonika actually when we met people at the BWW headquarters, they actually told us of where Bill Britt was buried. And we were in Fayetteville, North Carolina, about an hour away from where Bill Britt was buried, LaGrange. So on our way home, Janae and I actually stopped by his gravesite to kind of pay respects and stuff like that. And the biggest thing I can say, it's giving me chills right now thinking about it, was seeing kind of the humble surroundings where he grew up, and seeing he had like 10 or 12 family members we kind of drove by in that cemetery. And the biggest thing that I could think of is that, again, that this business was so much more than the money. Like seeing him, like, you see in some cemeteries, like those big, massive tombstones and huge things. And like, you would think, oh, Bill Britt, so he's bigger than life. Like that's what he would have. And it wasn't. It was, a normal gravestone. And it really started to get me to think that like Bill Britt wasn't in it for himself. He made a lot of money. He became very, very successful, but hearing his talk, seeing what he's done, the legacy that he's created, it was truly because he was others focused. And I truly believe personally that those who are going to be massively successful in this business, you might do it initially for yourself, but if you don't develop the mindset of I want to be others, I want to help my upline hit their goals. I want to help my downline become successful in business. If you don't start to develop that mindset sooner or later, I truly, truly believe that your time in this Amway BWW business will probably be short-lived, or it won't be something that's a super long-term thing, because you need that mindset to be massively successful. And like I said, one quote that I've heard many, many times is the best way to solve the problems, in your life is to take the eyes off yourself and to help somebody else solve their problems. And like I said, that was the one thing. I mean, it's literally giving me chills thinking about, being at Bill Britt's grave and thinking of all the lives that he impacted. And I was like, Janae and I, we never met him. We got in business years after he passed away. And I remember thinking as we were driving off, I was like, the biggest thing I want out of life, in addition to all the, monetary things we want, is I was like, I want to create an impact so large that years after Janae and I pass away, we have IBOs or people that we impacted, coming to our grave, and I said, that's really what I thought that this business was all about. And, like I said, I don't know if you have anything else you want to share as we wrap up, or.
No, but thank you, Devanganati, Vishal and Sonika, and Nandan Sangeeta, all of our upline and friends, for allowing us to share. We don't take it lightly. I'm really grateful to share with the team and to give back to you guys.
Yeah. So like I said, hopefully we added some value to you guys here tonight. Hopefully you learned a little bit about the 9 core steps. But like I said, I really, really, really hope no matter what stage in business you're at, you really took home that last point of, if you're going through challenges in your life, if you're hurting right now, any aspect of your life, the way that you're going to get out of it and grow from it is to start focusing on other people. The more you look at yourself, the bigger your problems become. The more you help other people, the smaller your problems become and the more people you can impact. So like I said, hopefully we were able to help some of you guys tonight, and hopefully, like I said, I can see all of you guys here that are locally at the team meeting coming up on Saturday. Again, if you don't know the details, talk to your upline. I know Vishal, Sonika, and Nanda and Sangeeta are going to talk about it, but like Janae said, thank you guys so much for allowing us to share, and passing it back over to our amazing host, Elisa.
Awesome. That was amazing, John.